So last week we had a basic introduction to career studies and we started to get to know each other. Unfortunately, I had the flu, so we didn't have class, but we will have class this week. This week we're going to start talking about post-secondary education. And there are so many different options and things that you can do. And then eventually, after we finish this series, we're then going to start talking about some interview skills.
Let's start by taking a look at the lesson objectives. The essential question for today is, what will I need to achieve my career goals? By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to correspond pros and cons with various post-secondary educational institutions. We're going to review the PA Core Standards 13.1.11.h, and basically this has to do with comparing your current high school plan with your career goals and then possible educational opportunities after high school. So let's get started. So I'm talking about all these different programs you can get into, and I keep using the word post-secondary, but what exactly does that mean? Well, post-secondary education is any education beyond high school. So an example of post-secondary education would be going to college. Other examples could be trade school, certificate program, vocational program, associate's degree. All of these options are considered post-secondary education. So the vocabulary words for today's lesson all have to do with post-secondary education. Post-secondary means education that you receive after you graduate high school. So our vocabulary words are certificate program, trade school, community college, state school, college, and university. In this lesson, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about certificate programs. An academic certificate is a document that certifies that a person has received specific education or that they passed a series of tests. Typically, a certificate takes a lot less time to earn than a college degree, but it verifies that you have learned a specific skill and it allows you to get jobs in that field. So let's say you want to learn how to be a chef or a mechanic or a plumber. Well, these types of careers often require you to go to something called vocational school. It's also sometimes called trade school. And what this is it's an education that's focused on the technical skills that you need to perform a job. In other words, if you want to become a chef, you would go to a trade school and a master chef would teach you the skills and the tricks of their trade. If you want to become a mechanic, you might want to enroll at YTI, and they would teach you how to repair motorcycles or cars, whatever it was that you were interested in. But an expert teaches you, and it's very hands-on. So now let's talk a little bit about community colleges. A community college, or sometimes called a junior college, they are set up to serve a specific community or a specific state. So in other words, if you live in Philadelphia, you could go to the Philadelphia Community College. If you live in Harrisburg, you can go to Harrisburg Area Community College. And we have community colleges throughout Pennsylvania. Now, a community college typically is the type of place where you would commute. So you would go in and out every day. You wouldn't live there. Now, some of them have actually grown and they do have student housing, but they don't have all the facilities that a college would have. So when you're thinking community college, probably your expectation should be that you're going to commute in, you're going to take your class during the day or your classes online, and then come home, and that allows you to live at home, save some money, and still get college credits. When people are talking about going to college, they generally mean that they're going somewhere to get a 4-year degree. One of the places that you can go is called a state college or state university. And the reason that they're different is because the state is actually helping to pay some of your tuition. So if you live in Pennsylvania, you could go to Penn State, which is a state university, and it would cost you less money because Pennsylvania is helping to pay. It costs you less money than if somebody who lived in Maryland or somebody who lived in Ohio. So they're state specific. They're subsidized by the state. In other words, the state helps pay. It's not a scholarship, it's not a grant, it's nothing you have to pay back. The state just puts money in towards your education. Now, the great news is Pennsylvania has a phenomenal state system. We have probably any type of degree that you could think of. So if you're looking at a state college or state university versus private, you would expect the state college and university to be cheaper. We're going to be using these vocabulary words over the next couple lessons. So let's take a moment just to talk about what each of these. So in the last slide, you heard me talk about universities and colleges. And a lot of people use those terms interchangeably, but they actually refer to two different things. At both of them, at a college and a university, you can earn a 4-year degree. The difference, though, is at the university, after you earn your 4-year degree, you can continue and you can get your master's degree, which typically takes another 2 years, and your doctorate, which is typically 4 years. So a college, you go, you just earn your bachelor's. University, it's bigger, you earn your bachelor's, and then if you want, you can go on and earn additional degrees.
So as a review, this lesson has basically been about vocabulary. We've talked about different types of post-secondary education, including certificate programs, trade schools, community colleges, state schools, colleges, and universities. And it's important to understand the difference between these different types of education because as we go on through the course, we're going to talk about the benefits and what types of jobs you can get if you have the type of education you'd receive at these different institutions. So let's review the objective. Can you identify the pros and the cons of the different types of post-secondary education that we talked about? So what comes up next? Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about post-secondary education. Specifically, we're going to talk about the different types of careers that you can get and what you can do with a certificate, with a college degree, with an associate's degree. So all these things, first you need to understand what they are, and then we're going to talk about what you do with it. I look forward to seeing you in the next class.